Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Justin. I am a tech-savvy lawyer. I automated most of my work as an in-house legal counsel, and now I have a company, Automate Office Work, where I offer the same consulting services to all kinds of clients. You can find me on my website, automateofficework.com. You can see here I offer consulting, solutions, and education. And feel free to book a call with me or come on to a meeting like this, and we can go through your specific situation and just talk through the kinds of things that you have available to you. I use a lot of Microsoft Office tools just to use whatever you have to improve your processes and to take your work to the next level. All right, so today's topic, we're going to be talking about communication. Communication is really, really important, especially when we're talking about process improvement and automation. There's a lot of communication involved. You use communication to get the different parties involved in the processes. You also use communication just overall to tell the story about what it is you're doing, because you're going to have to be reporting your activities to your manager and to the wider department and to the wider company overall. So yeah, there's communication all over the place. Communication is the glue that holds everything together, and then it's also how we tell the story of what we do. Because if there's no story, there's no impact on human beings, and there has to be an impact. All right, we're going to open up a new tab, and we're going to go to my SharePoint site. Legal. All right, so I have created an internal kind of an intranet site for my legal department. It is at automateofficework.sharepoint.com/sites/legal, and I recommend that you create something like this for your own department. You might think about creating two different versions of this, one for your audience to the wider company. Maybe that is /sites/legal, but you also need to have one that is just for your department, that's more internal, just for the members of your department. And maybe you want to create it at like /sites/legal/private. Maybe you'd want to create a SharePoint there as well. But really think about your audience, who is coming to your intranet site, and what do they expect to find when they get there? Like, put yourself in the shoes of the people that you're serving and really think about their needs, because it's their needs that you're fulfilling, not your own. You're not fulfilling the need to make yourself look good, to say, look at me, how amazing I am, because nobody cares. They want to get their stuff done when they come to your site. And if you're putting a bunch of pop-ups and, I don't know, take this survey and all this annoying stuff that they have to click away from to get to what they really want, you're driving people away. So when I was thinking about designing my site, the very first thing that people want, especially people who have just joined the company, it's just a directory of, like, what are all the different teams that exist in this department. And in my department, we have commercial divisions, and we then have a legal team over each of these divisions. We also have a legal team that's over all of these areas of law, and we also have legal teams that are over different regions around the world. And this was the very first thing that we want to be showing our people, is a directory of these other teams' sites. And every team should have its own site so that you can click on it. I'm going to click on this diagnostics one, where I have an example of this. And then you can read all about this team. Ideally, there should be more than one person on this team. There should be a picture of them, their name, their title. Below that, then we have a page for all the different services that this team does. These should be then telling you how to interact with this team, how to get services from them, basically how to communicate with them. So they're communicating to the wider everybody else how to communicate with them. Okay, so this is really important in communication. You need to have a department site and then a team site. Okay. Um, yeah, let's go into this team site a little bit more. Um, this is not just a normal kind of a SharePoint site. I created these different widgets in the way that I thought that I would want to have the website looking. I'm going to go to legal slash SharePoint in a box. All right. So this creates this SharePoint in a box creates with just a couple lines of code and with my own custom code, it makes it really nice so that a team can then click on this pencil and then all of their page becomes editable and you can easily add people to your team. These links then go to their biographies. Below that, you have this section of useful links. And these are meant to go to like some kind of a document or something. And then you've got the pages that this team is in charge of. And below that, you have tabs where maybe you have like different audiences that are coming to your page. So you can split this out into different tabs. And you can see here I've got like different paragraphs and even more pages within here. So yeah, really think about how you want to be communicating what your team does. I would say first and foremost, put pictures of your team members so people know who you are. Maybe write out who in the team does what, and then give links to pages, especially if you have like forms. Forms are a much better way of getting requests from people rather than just a random email. And then also when people do send you the random emails asking, how can I get this from your team? I wouldn't just give them back an answer. What I would do is ideally give them a link to your SharePoint where you have a page describing exactly what they need to do to get that service from you. And ideally, that should point to a form as well. I'm going to stay in here. Okay. So that's kind of the basics about a team site. You can see up here, we've got links to like trainings, topics, playbooks, and templates. I'm going to click on the templates area, or wait, this isn't my teams. I'm going to go back to my teams page, the diagnostics team page. Okay, come down here, and I've got a page here with templates. I'm going to click on here. And this is because one of the most requested things that I have, at least in my team, is that we give support to the business for negotiating of contracts. And these contracts, I only have two templates here, a master agreement and a service agreement. But the business can come and they can find the most recent version of this. When I click on this download, this means to download. And when I click on this Word icon, it downloads a copy of this Word document to my local hard drive and it opens that in Word immediately. So you can see how great this is, that somebody who needs a copy of this document, this template, does not have to email the legal team asking for the latest version. They also don't need to wait for the legal team to make updates to this document and then email people. There doesn't have to be an email distribution. People can come to this web page and always get the latest version. Also, you can see I've got a training here. So there was a training given in 2019 that they can always come and find if they want. So even if they didn't attend this training 5 years ago, or if they don't remember it, they still have a little bit of a nudge right here to get educated about this. I can also click on this Master Services Agreement, and it brings me to a dedicated page all about the Master Services Agreement. It tells the person just a little bit about what it is and who needs to work with it. Yep, I've got a thumbnail so I can just see a little bit. Yeah, that is quite blurry. Down below that, I have a link to a playbook. I have a link to the template again, so they can click on here and download the version to their local hard drive. They also have some links to see also. They can see all the templates. They can see the related services agreement. Yeah, and here's that training again. Okay, I'm going to click on the playbook. So here is the playbook for this contract template. It's the master service agreement. So my team, we took this template and we converted it to a web page. And then we put all of our commentary in these tabs just to the right of each paragraph. And then we went through paragraph by paragraph. And as a team, we just started writing out our commentary in these different tabs. The purpose tab, it's just to translate the legalese into plain English, so that the person who's negotiating this contract, they can actually kind of understand what it is that they're working with. So instead of having to write an email to legal every single time asking what does this paragraph mean, instead my team just wrote it down once, and now the business can come in and read our comment. The next tab is our guidance, and that is for what needs to be written in if it's yellow, or if during negotiations the two parties want to change something, we might answer their question just right up front right here. Maybe there's a question that has been asked before, and we just give our answer, like, yes, this is possible to change, or here is the backup language that we're okay with. So you don't even have to reach out. You don't even have to email the legal team. We've already answered your question right here. Okay, this is a huge resource for communicating. First of all, when I did an evaluation of all the emails that I get as a lawyer, one of the big categories that I always got was people asking questions about these legal template contracts. And I found it to be a huge waste of my time because they were asking the same questions over and over and over again. So by doing this, you can really cut down on the amount of emails that you're getting. And the goal that my team always had was we wanted to get rid of 90% of the emails, because if we can get rid of 90% of the emails that are just fluff, that it's just kind of vanilla, it's the easy basic stuff that we're answering the same thing over and over again. If we can get rid of that 90%, the 10% that's left over, maybe that's where the real strategy is, and then we can give really good service. So instead of taking like 2 weeks to respond to somebody's email, it would only take us, like, say, 2 days. And that's a much better experience for everybody involved. That means that your salespeople get to make their deal faster, and maybe you have more deals that actually go through, and that's better for the company. We also found that this was a huge help inside the legal team, because we didn't have alignment on our answers. You ask 5 different lawyers a question and you get 5 different opinions. Like, what does this actually mean in plain English? What is the strategy? What are the allowed changes? The business would get a different answer depending on which lawyer they went to. So by doing this, sitting down with 5 lawyers and having them write out all of these things, yes, it was difficult. Yes, it took time, but it was so worth it, because now we are all aligned. And now the team, it doesn't matter who in the team the business reaches out to, they're going to get the same level of service. They're going to get consistency. Also, it really helps with new people joining the team from now on. They used to join and ask, where is the training on how we review contracts? And we just had to say, there is none. You just do what you think is best. Well, now we can point them to this. And this is a great resource for training people. At the same time, we also told them this is not set in stone. You notice here to the left of these commentaries, there's a pencil icon. If there's a new question that the business comes to you with and you think, this is great, let's add this, you can add it. You can click on this pencil and you can make the change, and then you click this save icon again. So this is a living document. We expect that there will be new questions that come up, and we're going to have to decide the answer and write it down when we make that decision. Okay. We also decided that when new people joined, we told them, look at this. If you have a different viewpoint on how to make this better, let us know because we can update this. Okay. We also made this a website instead of a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet, because that means that whoever's using us has to come to the website every single time. There's no way just to download this or print it to a PDF and then refer to the PDF. We don't want our people doing that. We want them coming to here because there might be updates, and we want them using the updated version all the time. Also, we knew that some of our people in sales might be a little lazy, and they might not want to actually go through negotiation with the other side. What they might want to do is just send them an email with the contract template attached, and maybe they would also take our playbook and attach it and say, "Here you go, Microsoft. Here is our template and our playbook. Please make changes as you wish." So in our playbook, we might have a strategy outlined that says, like, this is our default language. Here's our backup number one. If that doesn't work, here's our backup number two, and then backup number three. So you see that there's like a ladder, and we wanted to go down one at a time. We don't want to go just straight down to number three. We in negotiations, we wanted them to go down one at a time. That's just part of our strategy. But if they just gave our strategy to the other side, you lose that, right? So yeah, we wanted to make this easy to use, but also difficult to save. So just nudging people's behavior. Um, yeah, this has been great for us. You might find that something like this would work wonders in your company. Um, do you realize that it's going to take time to write up this content? Really think about like what are the top 10 templates that you have? Top 10, I mean like in volume, or like the amount of self-service that another person can do. Maybe you have actually hundreds of templates, and I wouldn't recommend to write up hundreds of templates at once. Instead, you want to pick your 10 that are going to have the greatest impact, because this does take time, and you want to do the ones that are going to have the biggest impact first. Okay, it's if you have a big team of lawyers, it might be kind of difficult. Set aside some time and go through this exercise with them. You might also think about maybe only a couple of lawyers doing it, actually doing the writing, and then when you come into a bigger group meeting, maybe it's reviewing and tweaking of text that's already there. If there's text that's already written out, it's a little bit easier to make changes to, instead of just starting from scratch, right? Okay. You might also think about how this works in your company. The culture of your company might be that legal always just receives random emails. The business might not be used to the idea of self-service. And this doesn't take away the ability for your team to give great service. Like I said, it was a great way for us to align first. Maybe you want to just keep this internal first. Maybe not even tell the business that this exists, right? So you can use this just internally with your team. And then everybody's aligned, everybody knows what they're doing. You're able to answer questions much faster. Everybody's on the same page. But then maybe a few months after everybody's comfortable with this and they know that it's working and it works great for them internally, you might then offer it, not as something that's mandatory, but something that is optional to the business to use. Let them know that, like, yeah, keep emailing us. But if you want faster service, maybe come look at our playbook. And if your question is answered there, great. Go take it and run with it. You do not have to email us if your question is already answered here, right? Some people might love this. Instead of taking 2 weeks to get an answer, I can take 2 minutes. But you see, it requires me to look it up a little bit. And some people might love this. Okay. Another thing about this kind of advice that's in the playbooks, it has to be simple enough that the end user can take the action that they're supposed to take, right? Simple answers could be like, this text is our default text and we will never change it, right? That is great. That's very easy to action off of. It just says, hey, it will never be changed. So then the business person who's negotiating can say to the other party, it's a no-go for us to change this. I'm sorry. I don't even need to reach out to legal. I already know it's a no. So you're empowering them to go back to the other side and to push back on these negotiations. Instead of them having to say, I'm going to have to go talk to legal. Well, they've already talked with legal and we've empowered them to push back. Another thing, I said that our goal was to get 90% of the questions answered in this. We knew that there would be another 10% left over. There are also issues that are too complex to be able to write in a playbook. The cliche thing about lawyers is that the answer is always, it depends. So we realize also that there were some issues that are too complex to write in a playbook. So with those issues, we would spot them. We would say, this is a complex issue. Please make an appointment with your legal counsel to discuss further. Okay, so the idea isn't just to get rid of everything. The idea is more that we act with intention and we are able to spot the things, the quick wins, where we can write this up and get people serviced in a better way. But yeah, there are some issues that there still does need to be this hands-on approach, a more manual thing. So it'll still exist, and that's fine. We might also say, you could also just write that into here. If you want to change the wording, this is a very complex issue. It will take weeks and weeks of meeting with legal and with other departments. It will be faster just to use this default language. So you see, again, you're empowering the owner of this contract to be able to negotiate in a better way. Maybe time is an issue for them and they can push back and say, look, let's get this done faster. If we have to involve the lawyer, then it's going to take a lot more time, right? Okay, there are also a lot of issues that are in contracts that actually are not legal issues. These are things like finance and tax, maybe logistics, and the owner of the contract maybe they don't care who is in charge of these different issues. They just want to be able to go to legal because legal is, in their mind, the owner of the contract. Well, you can also use this in a way to point them to the right department. You can say, this is a finance issue, go to finance to solve this. So you see, we're getting rid of these emails that we don't need to be getting. You're helping the client, or you're helping the other person to self-serve in a much better way. Okay, so think about this. This is a huge resource that you can use that will free up so much of your time. And it's communication. It's communicating, right? You're communicating. You're taking the knowledge that's inside the lawyer's head and you're putting it in a place that's accessible without having to email legal. Okay. So yeah, that is a huge resource. And I hope whoever's watching this in the future that you get inspired by this. If you would like to be able to use something like this, playbooks, I've already written it up. It's a module in SharePoint. So just reach out to me at justin@automateofficework.com. Find me on LinkedIn, Justin Turman, and we'll get you set up and we'll get your team working in a much better way. Okay, so once you have this, you have your template, you have your playbook. Your business can then come to your team's website and see your templates, and they can now negotiate your templates. Okay, let's go back to this. I'm going to come back to here. So coming back to our internal landing page or our intranet for our department. The next thing that new people especially want to be able to find is an org chart of everybody in the department. And yeah, it's hard to get an org chart because it's very manual to create, and then people come and go constantly. But I created an automation that creates an updated an updated org chart. You can have it update daily or weekly, whenever is good for you. But this org chart automatically updates itself. And when I click on a person like Anna Nix, she's over the commercial divisions, it opens up the entire org chart. So now you can see I can scroll from left to right, and you see everybody inside the department. Here's me, Justin Turman, under Anna Nix. I'm a director of diagnostics. And yeah, because we clicked on Anna, her box is gold. But we can also click on my box, and this pops up. And now you see there are a couple of links here. I've got a pencil where this allows me to edit. Maybe I go by a different name than what was officially in the Outlook address book, because all of this data comes by default from the Outlook address book, the things like my title and my name. But if you click on the pencil, you can then edit like this team name above me, diagnostics. You can edit my title and my name. I'm going to now click on, there is an icon here. This is to go to my biography. And let's see, I believe that this is going to work. Yeah, it does. Okay, so this is a great way to communicate between team members. You know, somebody joins your company and they join your department, and let's say you have hundreds and hundreds of people in your department. Well, a great way of communicating is for people to learn about each other, and we did this through biographies. Okay, so a person, anybody can come here and they can learn all about me. They can learn where I studied, where I grew up, what I do in my free time. They can click through these photos of different places that I have lived, and they can just get to know me. So the first time that they do make a meeting and we meet one-to-one, this other person can say, hey, I read about you. I see you went to the same school that I did. Isn't that so great? And you know, it helps to break the ice. We now view each other as like human beings, and we're able to relate to each other in our own common interests. This is a great resource to use. I had a general counsel that would, before he met with anybody in the department, because it was 400 people in the department, he didn't know everybody. And so when he would meet with someone, first he would come read their biography. So he felt like he knew them a little bit. Okay. And the same goes the other way. Okay. And then on my team page, when you saw my picture on the team page, if people click on that, it comes to my bio. So even people in the business can get to know me as well. Okay. Because, you know, when you first join a team or you're getting to know other people, a lot of times what we do is we create a PowerPoint slide. And that PowerPoint slide, let me tell you, it is so hard to like line up everything, get the formatting just right. You know, I've got these 3 photos. How do I make them the right sizes, the right formats, so people can see them, but then they can also read the other stuff? And oh, I have way too much text to fit on one slide. I can't tell everybody all about me, right? And then in the meeting, when you're showing them your one slide, you're talking over it at the same time. So people aren't able to read. They're having to listen to you at the same time, right? You're kind of like bombing them with information. And then after like 20 seconds of awkwardness, what do? We just go to the next slide. So people just lost the ability to get to know you, and this is a much better way. What I would do is I would edit this. By the way, all of these different sections are optional, and I have a lot more. I tried to do a mix of professional ones and some fun ones. And what I tell people is just pick a mix enough that people can get to know you. Please do some funny stuff too, because we're all human beings, and we want to know fun stuff. We want to know like where you propose to your spouse, or where your favorite vacation place is, or your favorite dessert, or your favorite horror movie. It's not totally professional, but we need to know you as a human being. Um, so my tool here, you click on the pencil, and all of this becomes editable, and you can click and drag the boxes around to change the order however you want. But my tool, it takes care of the formatting. You provide the content, and then it formats it for you. Like even this carousel of photos, like you can click on one of these, and it becomes much bigger. So you don't have to fuss about the formatting, the margins, the font sizes. Just pick what you want to type and give us the content, right? So this is a much better way to be able to tell everybody about yourself. Now this content is available to everybody who comes and looks at the bios section. There's at the very top, if I click on bios, it makes a list of everybody. Well, it's just me for now, but it would make a list of everybody in the department, and everybody can get to know everybody else at their leisure. Okay, it's a much better way than just bombing people with information. I would I would give them a link to this even before the meeting. Send out the agenda and let people know Justin is going to introduce himself. If you would like to, you can read his bio before the meeting. And then at the meeting, everybody already knows me. Everybody already knows, they've already read my bio. And maybe you have a couple of people that raise their hand and they point out and they say, yeah, Justin, I went to the same school as you. And isn't that great? We now get to connect as human beings instead of having this awkward silence and everybody's trying to read for 20 seconds and listen to me at the same time, and they didn't catch anything. So yeah, communication. Communication is great. Think about how to make it better. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the org chart. Yeah, all of these people will be changed and updated as people leave the department and as people join, as people move around. This org chart automatically updates itself. So there's no manual work unless you need to click on a person and like type in the name that they go by, because all of this data comes from Outlook by default. All right, I'm going to click back to legal, talk about some more communication stuff. All right, the next thing that is helpful, well, I've got here our team structure, and that shows you just how the teams are structured. Everybody's under the general counsel. Then we're divided by commercial divisions, areas of law, and regions, and they're under these people, and then there are the different teams under them. So if this is useful for you, you might want to think about separating. Like, don't just have an org chart with people, but an org chart with like functions, right? So that could be helpful. Below that, I give a list of all the tools that we have in the department. These are all the communication tools that I've developed. And then these are all the functional tools, I call it. But I'm gonna go over the communications tools mostly. Okay. So the very first one is emails, and that is emails sent to the entire department. If you have department emails going out on a regular basis, I would say gather those and put them into like an archive. So even people who join the company next week, they can see the email that was sent out this week. Okay, don't make it so that people have to receive the email to be able to have access to it. And that is kind of that's kind of a theme in a lot of what I say about communication. Don't make people have to receive the email. We all receive tons of emails. We're flooded with emails. We're all ignoring emails. And then we don't even receive the emails that we need to receive, right? So take that data and put it somewhere else in a permanent archive. Okay, same thing with org announcements. I want to be able to see the org announcement of my boss. When did they receive, when were they promoted to their current position? Because everybody's getting emails about these promotions. Let's archive them. I've got a really nice tool here called mailing lists. Mailing lists really helps you get the answer, who do I need to email? Like if I need to email all of the lawyers that are in Germany who are over intellectual property, who is that? And it could change from day to day. I'm going to click on mailing lists here, open it up in a new tab. Okay, so mailing lists, it's very much connected to the org chart in that it has a list of every person who's in the department, and this is like all these rows, like in a spreadsheet. Okay, and then we have columns with all these characteristics. Like this is a system account. Not everybody in Outlook is even a person. Sometimes you have these email accounts, like contracts@company.com, or legal questions. Okay, so these are going to be accounts that are in Outlook, and they're going to appear here then in your org chart, but you need to be able to hide them from the org chart, and then you need to be able to come here and you need to click on this system account box, and you see how now it's noted that this isn't a person, this is a system account. I'm going to undo it because that really is a person. Okay, and then we have a lot of other characteristics like a full-time employee, internal, but they're a contractor. This is an external vendor, because sometimes even our external vendors, we give them email accounts inside the company just so that they can access resources like on SharePoint or something. So we need to know that these are external people. So like if you want to send an email, like one of the most common things that I would always get was my boss would say, send an email to everybody in the department. Well, he didn't mean everybody in the department because he didn't want the external vendors to be emailed. Maybe he wanted the internal contractors, maybe not. I'd have to ask. Definitely he'd want the full-time employees, but not the system accounts. And you might have to ask, do you want the interns to receive this email too? Because they're also here, but temporarily. We also kept track of the accounts of people who left the company, because we had a problem that people would leave the company, but IT did not get rid of their accounts, so they were still inside the Outlook address book. So we wanted to mark those people who left. Okay, so I'm going to start then selecting these. So let's say I wanted to email everybody that was in intellectual property. Do I have any intellectual property people? I don't think I do. I didn't mark any of these. Okay, so not intellectual property. I want to email everybody who's outside the US, who is also an admin assistant. Okay, so click on that. And then if I scroll up here a little bit more, you see in this filter path, I've got two phases. I've got everybody outside the US and then all the admin assistants. And if I take away admin assistant, there, I only have outside the US and there are 7 people. If I do admin assistant now, it adds that one. And now there are 9 people. So it took the whole group, everybody outside the US, and then it did a union of everybody that was also an admin assistant. And you put those two groups together, and it was a total of 9 people, okay? We could also do kind of the opposite. Instead of a union, there's intersection and exclusion. Intersection, it's where the two overlap. So only show me everybody who's outside the US who is also an admin assistant, and there's only one person who has both characteristics. You can also do an exclusion. So like the first one was, I think, seven people, and then you say exclude the admin assistants. So I guess there were 3 admin assistants. Wait. No, there was only one who was both. Yeah, so we went from 7 down to 6. Okay, so this is a great way to be able to communicate with people. Think, and this shows you kind of how my brain thinks. Um, don't just don't just create systems that are ad hoc that you have to recreate every single time. Like when your boss asks you, send an email to everybody. Well, how do you send an email to everybody? The easiest way is, yeah, go to the previous email that was sent to everybody and just reply all. Well, you're going to be missing people who have joined the company during that time, and you're going to be emailing people who left your department since the last email also. So that's not the true way to be able to email everybody. The true way to email everybody would be to go into Outlook in the address book and click around to every single person, but that takes time and it's manual, right? So, so kind of given my way is when a person first joins the company, when your org chart is updated, I have an automation that sends me a list of everybody who's new who joined the company, because you can look at today's org chart and the previous org chart, and you can compare the two. So you can see who joined the company and who left. So everybody who left, you can make automations that will go around and shut down all their access, all their different accounts. Everybody who's new, you can then create an automation that will go around and create all the different accounts that they need access to. And so they would be on the org chart. They would appear on here as well. But you also remember I said that some people's accounts are actually system accounts. Some people are full-time, some people are internal contractors, other people are external vendors, and some people are interns. But the funny thing is you can't tell. Your computer code can't tell what type of person this is. So what I would do is I would have an email automatically sent to this person's manager, because the managers are always full-time employees, right? And you're not going to have a bot that's managing a bot. You're going to have a person who created some kind of a system account or whatever. So an email would go to them and it would ask them, what kind of account is this? Out of these 5 types, what is this? And then if they say, yeah, this is a full-time employee, bring them here to this page and let the manager go across and check the boxes that match this person's characteristics. So you have the very first person who knows everything about this new person, and they can give you the data. They can check the boxes, okay? The next person who can check these boxes and tell you all about themselves is the employee, the new employee. So I would send an email to them automatically saying, welcome to the department. Here's a list of resources for you. Here is our internal intranet page. Here is our org chart. If you need to send emails or receive emails in a group, you go to the mailing lists, and there you can check and uncheck, and that determines what kind of large group emails you're going to receive, right? Okay, and that brings me to the next thing, and that is, now that I have this list of people, I can click on this envelope, and when I click on it, it opens Outlook, and it's already pre-written, it's already pre-addressed. Here we go. Move it over. Yeah, it's taken a little bit. Okay, so it's already pre-addressed with everybody, and then it has this boilerplate at the bottom. This email was sent using mailing lists at this URL. You can customize your settings to control which emails you receive. So if a person says, I don't want to receive these emails, I'm not in the US, I don't need to receive emails from people in the US, they can go to this URL and they can uncheck that box. Okay. And the same thing, if you find that you missed a person, say like you wanted to send an email to all the admin assistants and you hear back like, oops, we missed one. Well, whoever has the greatest interest, right, in getting that person on there, they can come check that person's box. Okay, the way I did this was that a person can check and uncheck all their own boxes, plus anybody in their manager chain. So I'm going to click on like this person, and you'll see a manager chain. It goes from Dana to Jessica, and that's her manager chain. Let's see if Felicity looks a little different. Yeah, there's 3 people in this chain going up to the general counsel. Any of these people can click all of these boxes. I also made it so that anybody in the department can create a new characteristic by clicking on this gear, and then they just create a new characteristic, and then they are the owner of that characteristic, and then they can go up and down the characteristic, and they can check all the boxes that way. Okay, and then also a person like myself, I'm an admin of this whole tool. I can check and uncheck every single person's boxes anywhere, but I don't know everybody. So yes, I have the power to do it, but I don't know every single person in my department. So we rely on other people. So you see how we are acting with intention here. We know it's gonna be hard to send emails to all the right people, but if you do it with intention and you plan this right, you can align people's motivations. You can get the people who have the information to give it to you. You also notice that they're not giving the information to me directly and then I have to come check and uncheck the boxes. No, instead you allow them to check and uncheck their own boxes. I don't need to be your middle person. We don't need a secretary in the middle. Okay, that's manual work that we want to get rid of. Okay, so this mailing list is a great resource, a great way, and I would recommend that when you think about any of your challenges, think them through in this way. Think it through in a very methodical way and just build a great system. Okay. I guess I'll also show there's a couple more things. I can say add all accounts. So let's say I'm going to start with everybody in the department, and that's all 19 people. Now I can say I want to take away anybody who is inside the US. I'm going to take away. So you see, I'm starting with everything, and then I'm chipping away. And the way we did it before was we started with something and then we added a little bit more. So you can start with just a little bit and you can add sequentially, or you can start with everything and you can take away incrementally. Okay, I've also got another one here. It's a list of accounts. So let's say if I have a list of people already, maybe in some kind of text file, I can click on here and then I can just copy and paste that very specific list. I can also do direct reports. And when I add this, now it needs a person's name. And I think, yeah, there was Anna. You can start typing and it matches anybody that matches the AN, for example, there. So I'm going to click on Anna Nix. And then there's a calculate button. And it calculates, these are all of her direct reports, the people directly under her. I can also do indirect reports or all reports. And I'm going to do, I think the general counsel is Valdez. Yeah, Jessica Valdez. And when I calculate her, it's going to be everybody in the department because everybody indirectly reports to the general counsel. Okay. So I hope that this is a huge resource, and I hope it inspires you to think about your communication. Yes, there are some very difficult things that we have to deal with communication, but if you structure it, it becomes so much simpler. And if you need tools like this, feel free to reach out to me. I can build anything, and we can give you a great tool, a great experience for everybody who has to interact with you. Okay, close that. All right, yeah, we also had the department calls. I guess that's the same thing as the emails and the org announcements. We archived our department calls. We did a thing with department chats. And this was not just a huge department call, but it was more like these much more intimate chats where you wanted to limit it to like 2 people, and you wanted to be able, say like the general counsel wanted to have a one-on-one, well, not a one-on-one, but like a small group chat with 10 people at a time. So we were able to offer this, and you couldn't just do this straight through Outlook or Teams because those two things don't allow to have a maximum number of attendees, but my system did. You saw the bios, access groups. Access groups is also connected to the org chart, but this means that it creates a group on SharePoint. Say like you have a group called lawyers on your SharePoint, and you only want the lawyers to be able to access a certain folder. Well, the people who are in the group of lawyers changes every single day or every single week as people come and go. And as that happens, you don't want to manually have to update that. So just like I had my list of people who left and people who joined, so we could remove them and add them as needed. If you gave me on this access groups page, if you give me the name of your SharePoint and the name of your group, like lawyers or whatever you call that group, you give me the name of that, my automation would automatically maintain the list of lawyers who are in that group for you. We also did monthly reports because that's another thing that you communicate. And a lot of people have complaints around these monthly reports, right? The people filling in the monthly reports and the managers who then have to like clean up all of your text. Whatever they're doing for hours and hours, and then they send it to the general counsel. Well, we made it so the monthly reports automatically aggregated everything on everybody's to-do list. So at the end of the month, when you have to think back, like, what did I do the last month? We actually already had all the list of things because it was everything you checked off on your to-do list in Outlook. So we kept an archive of all that. And then we had a regular meeting like the last Friday of every month. Our team would get together and we would just look at all the archives of all these to-do things, and we would align them, like make them fewer, and we would rewrite them as a group. So it wasn't just the manager rewriting for hours and hours, but we got to see like, oh, that's how the manager wants this written. Okay, so I guess in my to-do items, I'll write it up like this when I'm doing my to-dos. The next thing is responsibilities, and this is quite an awesome tool that I created. And this is because nobody knows what everybody does on a team, right? We all have these responsibilities. I'm going to go to legal ops. Yeah, I think it's legal ops. So this is for a team to communicate what everybody does. There's these different tabs along the top, main, team objectives, and maybe we all have like team objectives that we're working toward. Maybe there's an inbox of things that's like a customer support kind of thing that we're all working on in the inbox. Maybe there's things in finance, maybe there's technology projects, but I'm going to come back to this main one. Okay, so in each of these, yeah, we can edit these, we can change the name of the person. We can change the status through a drop down. All of these things. Yeah, we can change the start date. We can pick instead a date with a date picker. And then you notice this little bell also. I can click on the bell and we can say that we want to notify. No item found in list. Yeah, so we can have an email sent, say like one day before this date, and the email is going to go to these people. So yeah, we did a start date and an end date. There's some files and some notes. You can put in a percentage, how many items are done out of something else. But then if I was to write down like every single thing that I did on a regular basis, say I receive a report from another department, I make changes to that report, and then I email it to a certain person. Well, what happens when I'm on vacation? Right? I'm gone because I'm in Europe. I'm gone for a month. That person is going to send an email to my manager. And you know what my manager is going to say? They're going to say, I'm sorry, I have no idea what you're talking about. You're going to have to wait until Justin gets back. Well, if I wrote it up on here, that this is what I do, I get it from this person, I get it to this other person, my manager can come and look at this and see, I can click on this link. He can read everything about this activity. Maybe he can see past notes or whatever. So this is notes. I've got a bunch of files here that I can do. So this is quite a powerful thing, and it's all about communication. It's communicating what we do to the bigger team. So now that my manager knows all the little things that everybody does, now we can maybe start analyzing, well, why do we do it that way? Is there too much work that Justin is doing? Do we need to take some of that work from him and give it to another team member just to even out the work? Um, does Justin even need to be doing this work? Maybe we can automate it somehow. Instead of him receiving the report from one department and then cleaning it up and emailing it to somebody else, why don't we just get an algorithm to do that and to do the emailing automatically? So you see how powerful this is. It's about communicating. It's also about being able to tell your boss exactly what you do, so that they can, you know, tell the story about you, because we're all overloaded with work. And we just need to be able to structure our work in a better communication kind of way. And I hope that this inspires you. Um, I've only been doing this for an hour, and yet there's so much here. I hope that this inspires you, and that you reach out to me, and we can make your work better. We can take it to the next level. All right. So with that, I wish you guys all the best. Please give me some comments. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. Tell me if this is useful for you. And on the next time, feel free, if you want to come on, we can have a discussion and discuss your needs exactly what you need. Happy to do that. All right. So with that, I wish you the best, and have a great day.